3 years ago, in a small Turkish restaurant tucked between two busy streets, there worked a young man named Jack. Jack wasn't anyone important. He wasn't rich. He didn't own a business. He wasn't famous. He was simply a waiter. Every day he wore the same black uniform. Every day he carried trays of food from table to table. Most customers never remembered his face. To them, he was just another waiter. But inside Jack's mind lived something much bigger. Dreams. Big ones. He believed that one day he would become someone important. Not just for money, but for respect, for dignity, for the life he wanted to build. So every day after work he studied. Languages, business, psychology, anything that could make him better than he was yesterday. Most of his coworkers laughed at him. "Relax," they would say. "You're just a waiter." But Jack never believed that, because in his heart he knew being a waiter was only temporary. One evening, everything changed. Two girls walked into the restaurant. Jack noticed them immediately. Not because they were loud, not because they were trying to get attention, but because one of them was unlike anyone he had ever seen before. She wore a hijab. Her presence was calm, elegant, quiet. There was something in the way she carried herself that made the entire room feel softer. Jack looked at her for only a second, but that second was enough. Something inside him shifted. It felt almost ridiculous, like the kind of feeling people describe in movies. Love at first sight. He quickly looked away. He reminded himself of reality. She looked like someone from a completely different world, and he was just the waiter bringing menus. Still, when he walked to their table, his heart beat faster than usual. "Good evening," Jack said politely. The girl looked up and smiled. It was a small smile, but to Jack, it felt like sunlight. He handed them the menu and stepped away. He tried to focus on other tables, but somehow his eyes kept returning to her. Not in a disrespectful way, not staring, just small glances, curiosity, admiration, something he had never felt before. Then something unexpected happened. A group of French tourists sat down at another table. Jack was assigned to serve them. His French wasn't perfect, but he had been studying it late at night for months. When he approached them, he spoke carefully, slowly, trying his best. The French guests smiled. They appreciated the effort. They started chatting with him casually, and Jack relaxed. He even made them laugh. At the corner of the room, the girl in the hijab was watching. She hadn't expected the quiet waiter to suddenly switch languages. There was something interesting about him, something different. Dinner passed quietly. Jack continued serving tables. But inside his chest, a strange hope began growing. Not that he expected anything, just that for the first time in a long time, someone had noticed him. When the girls finished eating, Jack brought the bill, along with the restaurant feedback card. It was standard procedure. Every table received one. At the bottom of the card was a small line where customers could leave their phone number. Jack placed it gently on the table. "Thank you for visiting," he said, and walked away. He didn't expect anything. Not really. But after the girls left, Jack returned to collect the card. He looked at it casually, then suddenly froze. At the bottom of the paper, written in neat handwriting, was a phone number. His heart began beating faster. Was it really hers? Or her friend's? He didn't know. But that number stayed in his mind the entire night. Later that evening, Jack opened Telegram. He typed the number. A profile appeared. It was her. The same girl. He stared at the screen for a long time. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. He wanted to write something simple. Hello. But another voice inside him whispered something cruel. She's out of your league. You're just a waiter. She probably wrote the number just to be polite. Don't embarrass yourself. Jack slowly put the phone down and decided not to send the message. 2 weeks passed. Life returned to normal. Jack worked, studied, went to the gym, and tried to forget the girl who had unknowingly taken over his thoughts. Until one night, his phone buzzed. A message appeared. Unknown number. Jack opened it. His heart skipped a beat. It was her. Hello. Are you doing well? She wrote. I wanted to order food from your restaurant, but I couldn't place the order online. Could you help me? For a moment, Jack simply stared at the message. The girl he had been too afraid to text had texted him first. If this story is interesting so far, let me ask you something. What would you have done in Jack's place? Would you message her immediately? Or would you also hesitate, like Jack did? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoy emotional storytelling like this, consider subscribing to Valora Stories. Because what happens next in Jack's life will change everything. That night, Jack stared at the message for a long time. His heart was beating faster than usual. Not from fear, not from stress, but from something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope. A simple message from the girl who had quietly occupied his thoughts for weeks. Hello, are you doing well? Jack slowly typed a reply. Hello, of course. I can help you. What would you like to order? He pressed send, then waited. Those few seconds felt strangely long. Then her reply came. Anything you recommend. Jack smiled. Not because of the order, but because she trusted his choice. So he chose the best dish the restaurant had. Carefully packed, perfectly prepared, and he personally made sure it was delivered to the address she sent. When the delivery arrived, she wrote again. Thank you. Simple words, but to Jack, they meant much more. He wanted to continue the conversation, ask about her day, ask about her life, ask about anything. But again, that same quiet doubt appeared. She lives a different life. Don't push it. So he simply replied, You're welcome, and left it there. Later that night, Jack opened Telegram again, and something caught his attention. A news story from her profile. He tapped it. It was a photo, a large bouquet of flowers. Beautiful, expensive, the kind of bouquet people send when they want to impress someone. Jack stared at the image silently. For a moment, his chest tightened. Someone else had sent her those flowers. Someone richer. Someone confident. Someone who probably didn't hesitate the way Jack did. And suddenly, Jack felt small again. So he closed the app and said nothing. After that night, she didn't write again. Days passed, then weeks. Jack returned to his routine, but something inside him had changed. He no longer wanted to remain the same person, not because of her, but because of the feeling she awakened in him. The realization that he needed to become more, stronger, better. So Jack started changing his life. He began going to the gym, not casually, but seriously. Every morning before work, he trained harder than anyone else. Every evening after work, he studied business, psychology, languages. His life became discipline. No distractions, no excuses, eventually left the restaurant. The waiter uniform disappeared from his life. He found a better job, a professional environment, a place where people didn't see him as just someone carrying food, but as someone with potential. At the same time, he continued university, working, studying, training, building himself piece by piece. 2 years passed. Jack looked different now. Not only physically, his body had become strong, confident, but more importantly, his mindset had changed. He no longer chased approval. He no longer compared himself to others. His focus was simple: discipline, purpose, growth. Women no longer distracted him. His goals mattered more. Then one evening, something unexpected happened. Jack posted a story on his Telegram. A simple photo from the gym. Nothing special, just another part of his routine. But someone was watching. Someone from his past. The girl. The same girl from the restaurant. She had seen the story. Then another. Then another. Quietly following his life again. And finally, a message appeared. From her. Wow, you've changed a lot. Jack read the message calmly. 2 years ago, that message would have made his heart race. But now, his mind was quieter, more stable. He replied simply, "Yes, life changes." She asked him another question. "You don't work at the restaurant anymore?" Jack smiled slightly. "No. That was temporary. Everything has changed since then." There was a pause. Then she replied, "I'm happy for you." Jack could feel something behind those words. Curiosity, maybe even admiration. But Jack didn't chase the conversation, because now his life was different, and what happened next would change both of their lives forever.
It was a quiet evening.
Jack had just finished his workout at the gym. Like always, he followed the same routine. Discipline had become his lifestyle. Sleep at 10 p.m., wake up at 4 a.m., train, work, study, repeat. His life was simple, focused, controlled, until his phone vibrated. A message from her. Jack opened it slowly. "Are you awake?" He looked at the clock. It was late. Much later than when he usually replied to messages. But something about the message felt different, almost vulnerable. He typed back, "Yes, I'm here." A few seconds passed. Then she replied, "I'm alone at home tonight. My friend left earlier. I don't know why, but the apartment feels strangely quiet. Can you talk with me for a little while?" Jack paused. 2 years ago, this message would have made him nervous. Now, he simply leaned back in his chair and replied calmly, "Of course." Their conversation started slowly. At first, it was simple. Small questions. How was your day? Are you busy these days? Do you still study? But as the minutes passed, the conversation became deeper, more personal, more real. For the first time, they weren't strangers anymore. They were simply two people talking in the quiet of the night. The girl noticed something about Jack, something she hadn't expected. He didn't try to impress her. He didn't flirt. He didn't try to act important. He simply listened, carefully, respectfully. And when he spoke, his words felt calm, thoughtful, different. Jack had always respected women. It was something his mother taught him when he was young. Never treat a woman as less than yourself, she used to say. Respect her heart. and Jack had never forgotten that. At one point in the conversation, Jack asked a simple question. "How old are you?" There was a pause. Then she answered, "I'm 3 years older than you." Many men would have felt uncomfortable hearing that, but Jack simply smiled. Age had never mattered to him. He replied calmly, "That doesn't change anything." For a moment, she didn't respond. Then she asked quietly, "Why not?" Jack took a breath and answered honestly, "Because the only thing that matters is building a peaceful life with the right person." The girl stared at her phone screen. No one had spoken to her like that before. Most men tried to impress her with money, cars, status. But Jack spoke about peace, about respect, about building a life. It felt different. And for the first time, she began seeing him differently. The conversation continued for hours. They talked about life, about dreams, about fears, about the future. And somewhere during that long conversation, Jack realized something. His feelings for her had never truly disappeared. They had only been waiting, quietly, patiently. Finally, Jack said something unexpected. "Can I ask you something serious?" She replied, "Yes." Jack paused for a moment, then wrote the words slowly. "If one day I asked you to marry me, would you consider it?" The girl didn't answer immediately. Seconds passed, then minutes. Jack waited calmly. Finally, she replied, "I would think about it." It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no. And strangely, that answer made Jack smile. She added one more message. "If you really want that, you should try." Those words stayed in Jack's mind long after the conversation ended. For him, they felt like motivation, like a quiet challenge. And from that night on, Jack began trying even harder. Because now, he wasn't only building his future, he was building a life he hoped to share with her. But what Jack didn't know was that the road ahead would become far more complicated and far more painful than he could ever imagine. If you've ever believed in someone, even when the future was uncertain, tell me in the comments. Would you take that risk? Or would you protect your heart? Because in the next part of this story, Jack will do something incredibly romantic. Something that will completely surprise her. But soon after, everything will begin to fall apart. After that night, something changed between them. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a small light that had finally turned on. They began talking more often. Short messages, simple conversations. Nothing rushed, nothing forced. But every message carried a quiet warmth. One evening, the girl suddenly asked Jack something unexpected. "You seem like someone who knows the city well. I suddenly feel like eating kebab tonight. Do you know where the best kebab in the city is?" Jack smiled when he read the message. Of course he knew. Years of working in restaurants had taught him everything about food in the city. "What kind of kebab?" he asked. She replied, "Lamb." Jack didn't hesitate. He ordered the best lamb kebab he knew. Not one portion, several, carefully packed, and sent it to her address. When the food arrived, she immediately wrote back, "You didn't have to do this." Jack replied calmly, "Think of it as dinner from me." She sent a laughing emoji, but Jack could feel that she was genuinely happy. 2 days later, Jack woke up early. much earlier than usual. He remembered something she had said during their conversation. She often worked late at night, which meant she probably slept late in the morning. Jack had an idea. He ordered breakfast from the same Turkish restaurant where they had first met. Fresh bread, cheese, olives, tea, and a warm traditional breakfast set. But he added something special, a small note. "Good morning. Wake up and let's have breakfast together, even if it's from a distance." 10 minutes before the delivery arrived, Jack called her. She answered sleepily. "Hello?" Jack smiled. "Beautiful girl, wake up. Let's have breakfast together." She was confused. "Breakfast? Where?" Jack laughed softly. "Just wash your face and get ready. You'll see." 10 minutes later, the breakfast arrived at her door. She opened the package slowly. Inside was the full Turkish breakfast and the small note. For a moment, she simply stood there, surprised. Then she smiled. A real smile. The kind that appears when someone feels genuinely cared for. Days passed. Jack continued focusing on his life. Work, gym, study. But he also started doing small things to make her smile. Nothing expensive, nothing flashy, just thoughtful. Because Jack believed something simple. Love was not about showing off. Love was about attention. 5 days later, Jack decided to do something even more creative. He made a bouquet, but not from flowers, from mandarins, carefully arranged, bright orange, playful, unique. But something was still missing. So Jack added something else. A small envelope hidden inside the bouquet. Inside the envelope was a QR code. When scanned, it opened a short video clip. A scene from the animated movie Zootopia. The moment where the fox speaks gently to the rabbit. Words about trust and believing in someone. It was one of her favorite animated movies. She had once mentioned she loved that scene. Jack had remembered. This time, Jack didn't send the gift with delivery. He decided to bring it himself. Because for the first time, he wanted to see her reaction. He called her. "I'm sending you a small gift." She sounded curious. "What kind of gift?" Jack simply replied, "You'll see." When she came outside, Jack was standing there, holding the unusual mandarin bouquet. For a moment, neither of them spoke. She looked at the bouquet, then at Jack, then back at the bouquet again. And suddenly, she laughed. A warm, genuine laugh. Jack felt his heart beating faster. He couldn't even look directly into her eyes. But seeing her happy was enough. That night, Jack wrote her another message. "I told my parents about you. I told them that I want to marry you one day. If you're comfortable, we could meet properly and talk." She replied carefully, "Isn't it too early for that? Would your parents really accept me?" Jack didn't hesitate. "Yes, they would. Because I know one thing. I can make you happy." There was silence. Then finally, she replied, "Okay, let's meet." They chose a date, December 28th. A simple meeting, just to talk. Or at least, that's what she thought. But Jack was secretly planning something much bigger. Something unforgettable. If you were in Jack's position, would you do the same? Would you go this far for someone you love? Or would you protect yourself from getting hurt? Tell me in the comments. Because in the next part of the story, their meeting will change everything. And the truth Jack discovers that night will break his heart in ways he never expected.
December 28th finally arrived. For Jack, that date felt bigger than a simple meeting. For days, he'd been planning everything carefully: the restaurant, the table, the flowers, even the smallest details. He wanted that evening to feel special. Not extravagant, but meaningful. Because in Jack's mind, this was not just a dinner. It was the beginning of something real. Earlier that day, Jack went to a flower shop. He chose a bouquet of red roses. Not small, not simple, a large bouquet. But that wasn't all. He also bought something else, a book, the same book she once mentioned she loved. He wrapped it carefully because Jack believed something simple, a thoughtful gift, says more than an expensive one. Meanwhile, the girl was getting ready to meet him. She had no idea what Jack had planned. She thought it would be a simple dinner, maybe somewhere ordinary. Jack had even joked earlier that they might eat somewhere cheap. And she laughed because to her, it didn't matter where they went. What mattered was the company. That evening, they met. For the first time since the restaurant, when she saw Jack walking toward her, she paused. 2 years had changed him, his posture, his confidence, even the way he spoke. He was no longer the quiet waiter she remembered. He'd become someone different, someone stronger. "Where are we going?" she asked. Jack smiled casually. "I don't really have a plan," but he did. Of course he did. He was simply teasing her. They walked together through the street, and Jack stopped in front of a beautiful restaurant. The same restaurant he had once posted on her story months ago. Jack had remembered that. "Let's try this place," he said. She looked surprised, then smiled. They walked inside, and suddenly she saw it. A table, decorated with roses, candles, everything prepared for them. Her eyes widened. "You did all this?" Jack simply smiled. They sat together. Dinner was warm and comfortable. They talked about life, about work, about the future. Jack felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Hope. Maybe this was really the beginning of their life together. Dinner ended. Jack signaled the waiter. Dessert arrived, and with it, a bouquet of roses. Jack handed them to her, then gave her the wrapped book. For a moment she couldn't speak. She recognized the book immediately. "You remembered," she said softly. Jack nodded. "Of course." Her smile that moment felt worth every effort Jack had made. That night ended beautifully. 2 days later, something unexpected happened. On December 30th, she asked Jack to meet again. "I'll be working at a cafe today," she said. "Maybe we can talk there." Jack had just finished his workout at the gym, so he agreed. On the way there, he bought another bouquet, her favorite color. When he arrived, she looked happy to see him, but something felt different. She seemed nervous. Her phone kept lighting up. Messages, calls. Jack noticed, but didn't say anything. Maybe she was just busy. Then suddenly, her phone rang again, an unknown number. Jack said calmly, "Maybe it's work. You should answer." She hesitated, then said quietly, "You answer." Jack looked confused, but he picked up the call. "Hello?" A man's voice spoke. "Tony, is that you?" Jack frowned. "No, you have the wrong number." The man hung up. A few minutes later, a young man walked into the cafe. He walked directly toward Jack. "Can we talk?" he said. Jack stood up calmly. "Sure." They stepped aside. The man looked directly at Jack. "How long have you known her?" he asked. Jack frowned. "That's none of your business." The man sighed. Then I guess I'll just show you. He pulled out his phone and showed Jack something. Photos, videos, images of him and the girl together in a bedroom, driving his car. Living moments Jack thought were only his. And suddenly, Jack felt something inside him collapse. The flowers Jack had seen on her story months ago had been from this man, Tony. At that moment, the world around Jack felt silent. His chest felt heavy. His thoughts stopped. Because the girl he loved had been living another life at the same time. Tony looked at him. "We've been together for 3 months," he said. "I've been to her house. I've met her mother." Jack didn't say anything because in that moment, words had no meaning. When the girl came outside, Jack was already broken inside. "Jack, wait," she said. "I can explain everything." But Jack barely heard her voice. Tony suddenly moved toward her angrily. Jack instinctively stepped forward. "Don't touch her." Even after everything, he still protected her. But the damage had already been done. Jack walked away, without shouting, without arguing, without looking back. Because sometimes the deepest pain is silent. And that night, Jack realized the woman he believed would be his future had just become the reason his heart shattered. If you've ever trusted someone completely and discovered the truth too late, tell me in the comments. What would you do in Jack's place? Because this story is far from over. What happens next will change Jack forever. That night, Jack didn't go home immediately. He walked for hours through empty streets, cold wind moving through the city. But he barely felt it because the pain inside his chest was louder than anything around him. The images kept repeating in his mind. The photos, the videos, Tony's words. "We've been together for 3 months. 3 months. While Jack had been dreaming about a future, while he had been building a life for her, while he had been imagining a family, she had already been living another story. For the first time in years, Jack felt truly broken. Not angry, not loud, just empty. The kind of silence that appears when your heart realizes something it never wanted to believe. The next morning, Jack went to the gym. Earlier than usual. Much earlier. The gym was almost empty. Perfect. Because Jack didn't want anyone to see him that day. He trained harder than ever before. He lifted weights until his muscles burned, until his hands started shaking, until his body felt like it might collapse. But he didn't stop, because physical pain was easier to handle than emotional pain. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Jack stopped talking to almost everyone. His life became simple. Work, gym, sleep, repeat. But something inside him had changed. The soft kindness he once carried began disappearing. Slowly, quietly. At some point, Jack made a dangerous decision. He started using performance substances, steroids. At first it was small doses, then more. His body transformed quickly, stronger, bigger, more intimidating. But those substances also changed. Something else. His sleep, his emotions, his patience, his peace. Jack didn't care, because in his mind, pain had already taken everything. He once told himself something that night. If she is not the mother of my children, then there will be no one. And from that moment, Jack stopped believing in love. Meanwhile, the girl kept trying to contact him. Messages, calls, even her mother tried to reach him, but Jack never answered. Because sometimes, the deepest wounds cannot be explained, only carried. Months later, Jack looked into a mirror in the gym locker room. The man staring back at him looked powerful, strong, disciplined, but his eyes looked different, harder, colder. He had built the version of himself he once promised to become, but he had also lost something along the way. His innocence, his belief, his softness. But life has a strange way of teaching us lessons. Sometimes the people who hurt us the most are the ones who force us to grow. And sometimes the greatest love we experience is the one that teaches us who we truly are. Jack never forgot her, not because he wanted her back, but because she had been the turning point of his life. The moment everything changed, the moment the boy he once was became the man he is today. And maybe one day, somewhere in the future, Jack will meet someone who sees beyond his strength, someone who understands the quiet story behind his silence. But until then, Jack continues walking his path, alone, focused, disciplined, because sometimes a broken heart doesn't destroy a man. Sometimes it creates one. If this story touched you, tell me in the comments. Do you believe heartbreak makes a person stronger? Or does it change them forever? And if you enjoy deep emotional stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to Valora Stories, because every story has a voice.